Hey guys, welcome back to Duality 7X. I'm your host Shiraz. Today I want to talk about what happened between Justin Gaethje, Ilia Topuria. Of course, they fought in the main event at UFC Freedom 250. That was at the South Lawn at the White House. It was absolutely incredible to see. There was like around 80 to 85 plus thousand fans um, in attendance at their fan park. It was absolutely insane. The card overall was absolutely impeccable. Great card. If I was a betting man, I would have lost a lot of money because there was a lot of upsets. I'll just quickly run through the winners and the losers, and then we're going to talk about our featured video, which centers around the Ilia Topuria Justin Gaethje match, the main event. So Diego Lopez took on Steve Garcia. Diego Lopez ended up winning via TKO in round number 2, and he improves his record to 28-8. Bo Nickel beat Kyle Dukakis. Bo Nickel won by KO, by TKO. That happened in round number 1 at the tail end of the round. Beautiful right hook, and then he finished it off with some beautiful ground and pound elbows. Bo Nickel improves his career now to 9-1. Mauricio Rufy and Michael Chandler. This was actually a really interesting fight, guys. Mauricio Rufio ended up winning, improving his record to 14-2. He won by KO, by TKO, but with a spinning back kick and a flurry of punches that just overwhelmed Michael Chandler. A lot of people are talking about whether or not Michael Chandler should continue because, I mean, the whole originally when the UFC Freedom 250 White House card speculation was kind of going on, people were talking about the possibility of Chandler squaring off against Conor McGregor. But yeah, Chandler, great fighter. He just looked overwhelmed against Mauricio Rufy. Very good fight. And then Josh Hockett, the man with a lot of things to say, Josh Hockett, easily defeated an aging Derek Lewis, and Josh Hockett improves his record to 10-0. Derek Lewis, 29-14. I think there's a lot of calls for Derek Lewis to step aside and gracefully walk off into the sunset. He didn't even pose a threat. Not once did he even pose any kind of a threat to Josh Hockett. He was just throwing wild punches. A lot of them were hitting thin air. But anyways, that's maybe a video we could talk about at another time. Sean O'Malley also improved his record to 20-3. He won by TKO in round number 2. He overwhelmed Ayman Zahabi, Canadian, and then Cyril Gahn and Alex Pereira. Guys, this was the co-main event. Could have easily been the main event itself, but a lot of speculation, a lot of talk going into this one with Alex Pereira relinquishing his light heavyweight title so that he could move up to heavyweight and then conquer the heavyweight division by beating Cyril Gahn for the interim heavyweight championship belt and to do what very few people have done in combat sports, which is win in 3 different divisions. But it was Cyril Gahn's night, and he stopped Alex Pereira with a beautiful KO. He knocked him out with a left hook and a flurry of punches. It was too much for Alex Pereira, and that was it. Cyril Gahn improves his record to 14-2. Alex Pereira's record now 13-4. I think for Alex Pereira, he's probably just going to have to stabilize a little bit. Heavyweight division is a whole different animal, guys. It's a whole different animal, and he's just going to have to be better prepared for his next fight. And then for the main event, guys, this is what I want to talk about. I want to talk about Justin Gaethje, Ilia Topuria. As most of you are already aware, Justin Gaethje has now improved his record to 28-5. The ageless wonder. He's 39 years old, and he doesn't look, he doesn't look a shade over 25. He did absolutely incredible. He beat the current champion, Ilia Topuria, whose record now is 17-1. He was going in for 18-0. Yeah, that was a shocker, guys. That happened in round number 4 because Ilia Topuria had retired, or his his corner pretty much threw in the towel. He was not in any condition to continue. If you know what I'm talking about, you saw his face. You guys know what I'm talking about. So let's talk about this because Gaethje might have just ended perhaps one of the biggest debates coming into the UFC Freedom 250. And it honestly contradicts, in my opinion, what a lot of fans are actually saying online because ever since Topuria failed to make it to the final round, there was a lot of accusations that started flying out of everywhere, guys. Like, I mean, accusations beyond accusations, all kinds of crazy stuff as well, that Topuria quit under pressure. Now, even Patty the Batty, Patty Pimblett, jumped in, chimed into that conversation. But the one person who actually stood across from Topuria, uh, for 4 brutal rounds is saying exactly the opposite. And when you hear what Justin Gaethje had to say, it's interesting because it actually points out a very, very different picture from what actually materialized in the octagon that night on the South Lawn of the White House. Because after the fight, Gaethje admitted that he's still dealing with damage from the battle. His hand still hurts, his jaw hurts, and perhaps more importantly, he said that Tupuria's body shots had done a toll on him, and he started to feel them a lot more after the fight had ended. That alone tells you how competitive this battle was. I mean, in fact, he made something very, very clear. All right. He never saw Ilia Topuria quit ever. Okay. And I don't think we have either. I mean, in fact, Gaethje actually revealed that when officials were close to stopping the fight near the end of the 3rd round, he was actually surprised because Topuria came right back out and he was still dangerous and he still landed some heavy, heavy shots to the core, to his head. But those are just things that Justin Gaethje was able to acknowledge and identify because he said that Topuria was mentally checked in, and he acknowledges that, you know what, Topuria is not a quitter. He's not the type to quit, but it was more his corner, most likely, that obviously threw in the towel. And this is where I think things get a little bit crazy, right? Because, I mean, I don't know if you guys watched the fight. It was absolutely crazy. Um, Too many people see a stoppage, right? Or a fighter getting overwhelmed and immediately have to jump to the conclusion that they gave up. And there's a massive, massive difference, guys, honestly, between a fighter being physically unable to continue at the highest level and one that's choosing to surrender. There's a huge, huge difference. They're not even close. They're like actually they're like miles apart from one another. And I'm going to get into that in just a second. But from everything that we know, Topuria took enormous, enormous damage, especially to his face. He was even transported to the local hospital afterward. I mean, reports indicate that he suffered a broken orbital bone. And I mean, the good news is that the updates suggest that his overall condition is much better than people initially feared. So thank God he's in good spirits. He's recovering well. But where things get, a little dicey is Gaethje did say something that actually deserved attention. And now he definitely rejected the idea that Ilia Topuria quit. He also believed that the 2nd round actually changed the entire fight altogether, like psychologically speaking. And look, that doesn't necessarily mean that Topuria had lost his will to fight. The way Gaethje explained it to me sounds like, it was more about the fighters truthfully believed that they were just seconds away from victory, and then and Topuria, just there was a shift in momentum. All right. And that in itself can be absolutely mentally frustrating for a fighter when they start to realize that that momentum is actually starting to slip from their fingertips. And you have to understand, Justin Gaethje, he's a seasoned veteran. I mean, he's been around the block a few times. Okay. He's built his entire career, on making opponents really question themselves, their pace, their durability, their fortitude, their willingness to absorb punishment, and all that jazz, right? He's broken He's broken plenty of elite fighters along the way. That's Justin Gaethje. That's his style. So we shouldn't be totally surprised here because a lot of people, on the merit of his age alone, were just pretty much discounting Justin Gaethje, saying that he doesn't have it anymore. He should retire. Well, I don't know if you guys remember, but he did beat Paddy Pimblett, another rising star in the UFC, and that was a big shocker. So, anyways, when Justin Gaethje talks about surviving that second round storm and how the fight kind of the momentum started to shift a little bit, he's actually describing that there was a big confidence, factor that kind of came into things, and it really changed the whole dynamics of his perception of his game and his strategy kind of going into the next rounds, right? Because I mean, that's courage, guys. That's confidence, that's courage all in one, and he showed to exemplify that throughout the fight, and that's why he's the winner. Now, Gaethje himself was actually defending Topuria because there's a lot of nasty stuff being said online about Ilia Topuria. I mean, it is a fight business, so I mean, you're not going to get people speaking to one another in a respectful manner all the time. But a lot of people were questioning Ilia's willingness to fight, his mental toughness, whether he still has it. And I mean, if anyone had to, honestly, had a reason to diminish his opponent, it'd probably be Justin Gaethje himself. But Justin Gaethje actually praised Ilia Topuria. He repeatedly called him a formidable, very dangerous fighter, and he continues to remain a threat. And he feels that Topuria will be back, and that's a veteran giving respect where respect is earned, right? So yeah, there's going to be a lot of people on the outside, obviously, who are going to say a lot of negative things, judging the fight just based on a few seconds, and then, think they have it all figured out. I mean, look, the third round was undeniably the turning point. If you watch the fight, guys, I mean, Topuria was dropped. He absorbed some serious, serious, heavy punishment. And then next thing you know, he's finding himself needing to survive, and that was really tough because he was struggling. He was absorbing some big punishment, and his body almost felt like giving up, but he mentally didn't give up, right? And by the fourth round, I mean, he accumulated a lot of damage to the point where it really changed the trajectory of the fight, to the point where his corner's like, no, that's it, he can't continue. So excuse me, every fighter, okay, regardless, every fighter usually kind of comes to these crossroads at some point in their career where they suffer their first professional loss, and it's like, oh my gosh, what the heck is going on? And some come back better, some learn from adversity, others struggle to regain that aura, that charisma that made him so dangerous in the first place. Like, I think about Hamza Shemaev. He has that aura, right? I mean, he looked invincible. And then ever since his loss now against Sean Strickland, a lot of people are starting to question whether or not he's been fully exposed. He's no longer an invincible man. And so, and that happens. Look at Israel Adesanya. He was on top of the world for how long? And all of a sudden now it looks like he's just trying to win a fight. So, I mean, as for Justin Gaethje, I mean, his performance speaks for itself. I mean, honestly, this is exactly why fans continue to watch him and love him. He picked up another bonus worthy war. All right. He showed some incredible resilience. And, even in victory, he chose to give his opponent credit instead of just piling on the criticism and burying him 6 feet deep. He didn't do that. Right. I mean, right now we're talking about recovery for Ilia Topuria. I mean, that broken orbital bone isn't something that, you just rush back from. He's going to have to take some proper time to heal. And he just came off some time off as well, going through a lot of the personal stuff happening in his life. Now he's going to have to take some much needed time just for his body to heal. So I don't buy the narrative that Ilia Topuria got beaten by a relentless fighter. I mean, look, yeah, he took some serious damage and he kept trying to compete despite the circumstances. You've seen the pictures, okay? There's a huge difference between being broken physically and giving up mentally, because Gaethje's firsthand account supports that distinction. And I, like, I'll be the first to tell you. I mean, obviously, Ilya would have done everything he could to change the circumstances, but it is what it is. You know, those things happen, unfortunately, in a fight. This is why a fight's a fight. Anything can happen. So I think Ilia Topuria is going to be back. He's going to need some much needed time. He's going to have to go through a lot of crap talk that's going to happen on social media, because social media is the gift that keeps on giving. I mean, just as Josh Hockett with his infamous comments about Michelle Obama. But yeah, yeah, unfortunately, you know, it's combat sports, guys. This is what's going to happen. These guys are built differently. This is what they do for a career. Ilia Topuria will come back. He is such a good fighter. Those power shots he was just cranking out. I mean, you could see the expression on Gaethje's face a few times, especially when he took him down to the canvas. You could just tell Gaethje's like, "Oh no, I want to go home." Those that's what I was seeing on Gaethje's face, but somehow, he miraculously came out as the victor, and he didn't look scarred at all. He didn't get tattooed in the face as much as Topuria did. But those jabs, I'll tell you right now, I watched this fight, and I mean, it reminded me a lot, like Gaethje reminded me a lot of Sean Strickland in his fight against Khamzat Chimaev. And there was a lot of jabbing, keeping his opponent at bay, at a distance. You have to understand, Gaethje's a little bit taller than Ilia Topuria, and he's got that reach advantage. And he did well to keep Ilia Topuria away from him as much as he could. And those jabs just kept eating at Topuria to the point where it was too much for him. And so that's that, guys. But you know what? What an amazing fight. What an amazing card. Um, I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments on what you thought about the card. Do you guys think that Ilia Topuria is coming back? I mean, look, again, I don't think this is about somebody just quitting. I mean, there's always going to be momentum swings in every single fight. But I mean, he displayed some incredible toughness, huh? Don't you think? And I mean, there was some razor thin margins, guys, that that kept these two fighters, um, from with their in respects to their points. But now Topuria is going to have to face some serious challenges, right? As he tries to recover, as his body tries to recover, he's going to have the challenge of trying to bounce back in a very competitive, very elite division. And I mean, now he's going to have to bounce back after his first defeat of his career, while Gaethje again remains to be the ageless wonder. The highlight reel continues to dominate and proves why he remains right now one of the most dangerous and respected fighters at 155. Now, I want to hear your thoughts, guys. Do you agree with what I had to say? Do you agree that Ilia Topuria is going to come back? What do you guys think? How did you guys view the fight? Did you guys like this fight? Did you guys, like what excited you most about UFC Freedom 250? I want to hear it. Now, if you guys are critics of UFC Freedom 250, that's a separate conversation, guys. There's people who are for it. There's a lot of people who are against it. But you have to agree that the card was absolutely crazy. Lots of upsets, lots of shock and awe. Can't wait to watch the next one. But I want to hear your comments. To me, that's the most important thing right now. Thank you for sticking around, guys. The pleasure was all mine. I look forward to catching you guys in the next video.